What's going on, you guys? Canelo Triple G3 coming up this weekend. The trilogy fight. And it's a fight that this time, well, like last time, fans got to pay for. And on the Zone app, not only do they charge you a monthly subscription, but they charge you a pay-per-view as well. And this is how all these apps and things like that go today. They charge you an initial fee, a monthly fee or a yearly fee. Then they charge you an extra fee for a pay-per-view event. But the good thing about ESPN Plus is it's only $4.99 a month, right? Not to mention they got all kinds of deals with the Disney Plus. So ESPN Plus is pretty, I say it's pretty fair initially, right? $5, that's not really nothing, right? But $20 is a little bit shaky when you pay $20 a month for something and you're not really getting quality boxing every month. Not to mention quality events every month. So yeah, they starting to break the bank. And I remember when the Zone first came around, they were out with the pay-per-view thing. The pay-per-view thing wasn't going to be a thing for them. Eddie Hearn was harping how pay-per-view was a dead market and et cetera, et cetera. And yet, and still, when there's a big fight, they trying to squeeze it on pay-per-view. But it's been a lot of pay-per-view fights, most notably from the Premier Boxing Champions. It seems like every fight with a fighter with at least a B name is damn near going on pay-per-view, especially if they're a heavyweight guy. A lot of their fights are aired on pay-per-view. And I'm not quite sure what's the angle here, but back to the Zone, right? The Canelo Triple G fight. Canelo Alvarez for Canelo 3 pay-per-view price. How much does it cost? It said the Zone subscription is $19.99 in the US and $20 in Canada, $7.99 in the UK. Right? So $7.99 in the UK, that's probably about how much US dollars that? It's probably about what, $12 in the US or something like that? Maybe, right? It's probably damn near $20 in the UK, right? But it says the Zone annual subscription, $99 in the US and $150 in Canada. So for a yearly subscription, $100, and then it's $150 in Canada. And it says because it's a pay-per-view event, the fight will cost $64.99 in the United States for current subscribers and $84.99 for new subscribers. So basically, you're gonna be paying about $100. If you're new to the Zone and you want to see this fight, you're gonna be paying like $100 just for everything. And this is kind of similar to what ESPN did with the Terrence Crawford-Sean Porter fight. They sabotaged the shot of that event. I already had ESPN, and yet and still they was trying to force me to buy a yearly subscription. So I had to do all kinds of extra shit, go on my phone and actually do it. You know, it was crazy. If I didn't think of that workaround, I would have had to pay an extra $100 just to see Bud fight Sean Porter. Like it would have been crazy, right? So this whole pay-per-view thing is I don't know. Now the UFC does really well in the pay-per-views. They do very well on their pay-per-views. But in boxing, I don't think it's adding up. I don't necessarily think it's adding up. And with certain guys, you already know that I think they overblow their numbers. I don't think they getting these numbers that they say they're getting. Right? And I think some of the numbers that we do get is probably a lot lower than what they're really telling us. Right? But $84.99 for new subscribers, $64.99 for returning subscribers, but you're still paying about $80-some. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's look, if you got it, you got it, right? And you know me, I ain't really got to worry about it too much, but it's just looking at it. Like, how do you expect people to really see this shit? How do you expect people to really support this if you charging so much fucking money for guys you barely see? Now, Canelo Alvarez is a fighter you have been seeing quite often. And Canelo Alvarez has a pretty strong fan base. I think they should give Canelo fans a bone this time and make this pay-per-view a lot cheaper. $40 or something. That would have been nice, right? Nah, they ain't gonna do that shit. They're gonna try to get the most out of the people as they can. You know what I'm saying? $84.99, bro. You know? And that's a hard ask from people. That's a hard ask from people. You know, like, hey, $84. Watch this fight. You buy the pay-per-view, it may not even be worth $84 to you. You may be like, man, this shit was a dud. These fights was whack. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they charging people a pretty penny for these pay-per-view fights, man. And then Lou DiBella came out and said this, which I thought was pretty interesting. He says, A prevalent lack of mainstream marketing for big pay-per-view fights is obvious to me. Says that those engaging in selling pay-per-views and streams don't believe that fishing to the masses works. They've resigned themselves to selling to the hashtag boxing niche. Is 500K buys the new million? Seems so. Yes, that's what it seems like, Lou. These guys seem satisfied with about 200,000, 250, 260, 300. Those are good numbers today, I guess, right? 500K, oh man, that's a million. But they don't be marketing these guys. They don't be marketing these fights. They wait till about a month or so before the actual pay-per-view is going down, before they even announce it. We still haven't got word on Spence and Crawford. So how the hell you going to announce that one? Right? How you going to announce that, promote that to the maximum capabilities in a month? How are you going to do it? Right? I understand social media is a strong tool, but how are you going to get it to the people who don't be on social media, who might be boxing fans, some of the older folks, or some of the people who just may not be on social media like that all the time? How are you going to get that word out to them if you're not advertising this fight ahead of time, right? These big fights. Canelo Triple G wasn't even promoted like that. They just expect fans to show up and dish out. But for me, man, I want to see some leg work from these fucking promoters and these dudes in suits. Man, y'all got to do some work. Because we know the fighters going to be putting in their work in the gym and shit. But these promoters got to do their job, and that's promote. They don't do a good job of promoting. Now, Lou DiBella, he's never been a promoter who necessarily had like a huge platform to where he could advertise fighters and promote fighters and shit. We haven't really seen any good promoting in boxing probably since Don King days, if I'm honest. Right? These guys don't be promoting these fighters. They don't be promoting these fights. A lot of these guys that are promoters who may be a little bit more vocal, they can't relate to the people, the audience that they're trying to promote to. You know, so yeah, boxing, it still needs a lot of work. A lot of work. You know, the boxers, they're worth a lot. So they don't have people like in Saudi Arabia where they could just dish millions and millions for fights. They don't really do that here in America. So if you're a fighter who don't have a strong fan base or anything like that, it could be really, really ugly for you out here in the sport of boxing, no matter how good you are, right? And if you ain't got the money behind you, it can still be very ugly for you. The 500K is the new million. They just seem to be satisfied with anything, and they seem to just be putting out anything on pay-per-view and expect people to really buy it, you know. And when you look at the PBC, how they've been doing it, I don't really like how they've been doing it. I see why, and I understand why they're doing it. I think, right, in my own opinion, as to why they're doing it. But I don't think it's necessarily good for anyone. It's not good for the fighters. It's not good for the fans. It's just really just not good. And it seems like they rushing shit and they doing shit last minute. They slapping anything on pay-per-view. And a bad thing is these fighters that they put on pay-per-view, you haven't seen them in like years. They may be coming off a loss, but guess what? You have to pay them, see them fight. And then they get these pay-per-view numbers and they flop. They do drastically horrible. They do worse numbers. They fall all the way straight to hell. The numbers are lower than the fucking Earth's core. Right? Like the numbers, they said that Ruiz Ortiz fight bombed big time. And guess what? All of a sudden, now that these pay-per-views ain't doing well like they used to back in the day, you know, now that it's not doing as good no more. Now they say, well, we don't really got to disclose the numbers no more. Now they don't want to disclose numbers. Why? Because they're not doing good numbers. But if you look over at the UFC, man, they averaging 500,000. You know what I'm saying? The marketing machine with the UFC is top notch, right? The fighters have their issues, they complaining and things of that nature. But if you look at the UFC, sold out events, the crowds be all excited. They have a really, really strong cult-like following, to the where you could have a Nigerian American dude and a British Jamaican dude, black dude, fighting in Salt Lake, Utah, and they could damn near sell it out and do about 700 pay-per-view buys, right? 700, 800K pay-per-view buys, damn near sell out a place like Utah, two black dudes fighting. So it's something that the UFC is doing differently from boxing. Because when I look at the UFC, and I don't follow it as much as these days, but I do peek my head in the door every now and again, guys like Idris Adesanya be averaging 700,000-800,000 pay-per-view buys. An African dude from Nigeria. But when you look over here in boxing, Oh, well, black fighters don't sell and all this other stuff. So it's like, what the fuck is going on? Who's promoting these guys? See, UFC does a great job with their promotion. While the fighters may be missing out a lot of money, they put all that money back into the company to promote. And this is why they have all those sold out arenas. They can fight anywhere in the country and damn near pack the house. They could put in 2 foreign guys and still fill out of the arena and still have a high gate and pay-per-view numbers, right? So the UFC seem to have gotten this shit down packed. But as far as boxing, it's a hit or miss. And I think the ESPN is trying it, the UFC, where they building up these fighters, right? You've seen these young fighters, these up-and-coming guys. You see them like every other month, every other boxing event. You've seen these guys very often. And then eventually when they get into a big fight, the fans be like, yeah, I've been seeing this guy fighting. I like him. I became a fan. I'm going to see him fighting a big fight. Boom, they'll pay for it right there. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's looking like ESPN Top Rank is doing right now. But as far as PBC, man, you got to go to Fight TV, Fox Sports pay-per-view, Showtime pay-per-view, right? And the fighter you trying to view, you may not even seen him in a year or two. So, yeah, man, they need to get their shit together, right? $84.99 for pay-per-view is ridiculous if you ask me. But, you know, one would expect they would try to charge as much as they possibly can for Canelo Triple G3. To be honest, I'm surprised it's not $100. And it makes me wonder, what will Spence and Crawford be once that announced? I mean, we still ain't got the word. What's today's day? I think it's September 12th today. Yep. September 12th. Still ain't got no word on Spence versus Crawford. Nothing. No word on it. No, nothing. We don't know if it's going to be announced or if it's even going to happen at all at this point. It's pretty ridiculous, pretty sad. And it's also unfortunate at the same fucking time. But yeah, man, that's all I got, man. Pay-per-view, man. It's a hit or miss. You know, I support the fighters though, right? The fighters I support them. I have no problem paying for it. But at the same time, I do see where a lot of fans coming from when we looking at this. Like, you guys are not really doing your job. You're just trying to throw anything out there and hope and pray that people just buy it. You know, a lot of these fighters we haven't seen very often. Some of these guys may be coming off losses. Some of these guys may be too old. You know, maybe coming off a bad performance or something. You know, Canelo Alvarez coming off a loss. You know what I'm saying? And a bad performance. And guess what? We're going to still charge because he's Canelo fucking Alvarez. But tell me what you guys think. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.